Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back for our third video in the beginner updated 2023 series. And today we're going to be talking about your town of Tempest and pretty much everything that has to do with this whole building area. Now, when you start the game, you're going to get a very, pretty basic tutorial on building things and upgrading your town, and eventually it will go from that, patch of dirt to this. Eventually, it's going to take a hot minute because your central office starts at level 1. Now it's capped out at level 10. It takes you a while. You have to progress the story. You have to get certain population requirements to be able to build this up. And then once you get to that point, you should the entire time you should always be building something in this area. You are given 3 slots by default, and then you can unlock a 4th and 5th for crystals. Sometimes, especially like during celebrations, like big time celebrations, like now we're gonna get a free 4th slot, I think on the 20th, I think, somewhere around there. Sometimes they do give away a 4th building slot for a week at a time, so that's really nice. Really take advantage of that and build as much as you can in that time period. They never give us the 5th option though. That's always for crystals, so no hopes on that. But it's always important to have something building in this area because you don't want anything to just be sitting here. You always need more population. You always need more food buildings. You always need, more stats. So having this always running at least the 3 cap is very, very important. But there are some priorities that you want to, assign first in order to get the most bang for your buck out of this. So the first off is your population, right? Your normal buildings, your orc houses, they give 120 population, once you get to the high levels. All of them start kind of low, but, level 64 is where I'm capped out at. It gives me 120. They take a day, once you get up really high. So big time population buildings are important. The event buildings that we get 3 per month, every single month, you always get 3 blueprints, throughout the whole time. Those are important to build up because they are, they're free and easy. These magic statues down here, the magic devices, these are important things for you to build because it is just free stats for all your elemental units. So you can see here, increases Earth characters' HP by 9.4, attack and defense by 9.3. These are free and easy. They take a long time to build though. Like if I wanted to upgrade this dark one, it takes 2.5 days, more than 2.5 days almost. So these things are very time consuming, but also very, very powerful because it's free stats. Alongside that, the Tower of Isis, the enhancement statues that have for every weapon, plus armor and HP stuff, these are also important to build. You can acquire these by doing the Tower of Isis, loop, whatever you want to call it, and then the higher you go, the higher you can build these statues up, currently capped at 18. There is the protection statue, which gives extra stats to your protector since they don't fit underneath these elemental types right here. So there are a few buildings. Another big time building you want to focus on is the laboratory once you're able to build it, because this gets you free stamina pots at certain intervals. And that is just, extra stamina pots is extra time to play the game, is extra parallel processing, extra farming for something, some other grindable necessity that you need. So the laboratory, very important. And then probably the most important is the hot spring. I don't remember exactly when you can build this, but as soon as you can build this, this needs to be your priority because every single day, it resets at 4 a.m. for me, daily reset. It allows you to interact with it, and at level 10, it allows you a chance to get either 50 free stamina, 70, or 100 free stamina. So that's very, very important. Once per day again, but it's free, right? So what I normally do is I just do it at the end and then parallel process something overnight. But those are very important buildings. The rest of the buildings, again, once you're capped out on these, or once they become way too long for you to really, take a break, build up your population buildings, build up your population, because some things are capped by your population level. The newest thing that has come out that is a heavy population cap is the new Chamber of Memories stage that came out with this anniversary. Yeah, Chamber of Memories and Contracts. This has a 120,000 population cap. And I'm only at 166, so I'm not that far away from that 120. So This is very much endgame content for you because it requires very specific units that you may or may not have built up. But it is very important for you to always continually be building higher population once you get everything else capped out, because there comes a point where you can't upgrade these anymore until you get more population. Like if I want to do it, I need 166.8, and I'm at 166.1. So I need 700-ish more population before I can attempt to build these. So make sure to build your population. The building priority again should be these devices that give your units extra power, the laboratory, the hot spring, actual population. Your central office obviously will be a major thing because that expands your area of growth. Another thing to note with all these buildings, especially like these buildings right here and the laboratory, is the assigning function. So if we go to appointing function, so you can see that this increases my facility output by 2 times. So if we take all these units away and then confirm and then go back to it and then take a look at its info, it's still 9.4%. However, if I were to appoint specific units, increases facility effect 1 times or 2 times, right? And this will go up, with the higher levels, the higher cap. But now instead of 9.4, I should be getting 18.8% because it's now doubling the effect. So making sure that you assign units to really heavy buildings is very important. The laboratory especially, you can appoint characters here, and it cuts down your production time for a potion in half if you have, some 6-star, 3-star units. So appointing is a very, very strong option, especially for times when you're lacking just that little extra bit of damage. Maybe you need to appoint a few units to your light thing, or let's just say your water thing, because we've got a water DPS right now in Shinsha. Very important for you to assign units to the buildings that you need extra output from. And you can do that for pretty much any building at all that does give some kind of output. So if we look in here, level ups, you have normal population buildings, and then you have some food buildings, which I guess is actually more shown here on the appoint screen. So you can auto-appoint. You can do it, and the game will just do it for you, which is nice. But you can see we have some farms that give free food. We have trading posts that give you free trading things that we'll talk about in another video. More food buildings, specific food buildings, fish buildings, fruit buildings. We have buildings that give you coins. We have buildings that give you magicules and the ability rocks, which are very important. You can appoint units to these specific things, and they will increase the output or shorten the production time, which is, technically increases their output. So again, very, very important that you assign units to big-time facilities that you really need something out of. So that's a good showing right there of all the different outputs that we could have. The next thing I want to talk about is that this is not the only area that you can build in. Once you get to a certain point, you unlock the riverfront, which is just another location to build things on. It's a different location. There's water, there's bridges. I don't have anything built here because I don't really build much. But this is just another area for you to expand and build upon and make it all pretty if you're into that kind of city building aspect of the game. Personally, I'm really not, but I know a lot of people take a lot of pride in making their towns and their riverfronts look really nice. As of recording this video now, we are slated to get a new bamboo forest area, I think in November. So that'll be a third area to build things in and make it look pretty and nice. There are missions for you to expand this area. Normally it just starts off like this single pier and it goes like halfway up. And then as you complete missions, you unlock the next level, and then you unlock this side, and then you unlock this side. So by doing these missions, it gives you free crystals. It's like 5 crystals or something per mission, but it also, unlocks additional areas for you to build upon. So there's 3 current areas you can build with 2 with a third coming. And then there is also the town of Ingracia, which I guess we'll just talk about now. That was added during the 1-year anniversary, and it is different, I guess. So hold on. Alright, so the town of Ingracia functions as kind of a subplot of the game where this gives you, daily story missions to take on. I haven't even done all of them because I'm lazy and I don't really care. But there are a lot of things for you to do, a lot of things you can interact with. And this also unlocks the trade function. So unlock functions, you're able to trade. Episode 35, main character display limit unlocked. There's a lot of things you can do, but the most important thing is it unlocks this trade button right here, and you can use these trade markers to exchange certain items for other certain items. Now, to be honest with you, most of them are trash, and they're not worth it. Like, little rainbow rocks for 5 potions apiece, not really worth it. 2-star charms for 10 potions, I mean, if you have an abundance of potions, then sure. But these take multiple days for you to do, like 45 hours to do these 5. If I wanted to do the sparkling glass, like 54 hours. I mean, that's a long time, but it does unlock this trade function. Sometimes there are things that are worth it that you can go in towards and just kind of let it run for 3 or 4 days, depending on, how long it takes. But the Kingdom of Gracia is just a third area for you to walk around in, to interact with people, because the kids are there, Yuki is there, so that is just, a 4th area if we're including the new one that's coming. And the last thing I want to talk about for this video is Bond XP and how you acquire it. So when you're walking around the town of Tempest, just as you are when you load the game up, you have this little button down here which normally has 7 on it, and now it's down to 2, plus this little valid. The valid thing tells you that you can go interact with your hot spring right now. Click this little button wherever it is, and you will get your free stamina that we talked about earlier. But this is your Bond conversation board, and this is a rotating selection of units that every hour changes, and you can go up and talk to specific units, and you can get free Bond XP for those units, which is very, very important, because sometimes they give you potions, sometimes they give you Tempest coins, both of which you can use for various things. But Bond XP, free Bond XP, let's talk about that. So if we go to the Interact screen, you have a list of units that you have acquired, plus some, pretty generic free-to-play ones. But every time they gain a level in their Bond XP, you get 5 crystals. And every time they gain 10 levels, you get 10 crystals. So if everyone's starting at level 1 because you're brand new to the game, and you're building up your food buildings like we talked about earlier, and you're getting, free food rewards from other things, there's Tempest Great Harvest that you can just farm food items for a specific type, fish, meat, rice, fruit. You can do it for, as long as you want, as long as the event's active. But you can then stuff your units full of food, and you can get a butt ton of free crystals, right? There's a lot of characters in here, and if you happen to pull a lot of them, then everyone's starting at level 1, and then you can feed fucking Merd some food, and then we'll do it. And he likes fish, so we'll give him some fish. And then every time you give him a level. Now, not everyone's going to have this just gigantic stockpile of food, right? You're going to start out really low, which is why building up some of those food buildings in your town to passively get it is important. But here we go. Every time you raise a level, you get crystals, and they get stats. Now, Merd is not someone that I would really, honestly, be using. But for big-time characters that have a lot of representation, like Milim, like Xion and Diablo, getting them very high gets their skills and their stats very, very nice, because it's a 8.8% extra bond buff on top of their gear, on top of the magic buildings that we talked about earlier, giving them the 18% if they're fully maxed out. So this is a lot of stats, plus a lot of free crystals that you can get. And, if you don't have any food, what's the next best way to get them up? Bond conversations in your town. You're limited to 7 per day, which is really unfortunate. It used to be a lot better, but they changed it, and it's what we have to live with. But every day you can go and talk to 7 different people, and since it rotates every hour, you can talk to the same person multiple times a day. If you're really looking to get that specific unit up, you just have to wait for the rotation to come around in another 53 minutes. Now, again, it is random. You have 7 characters in Central Tempest, you have 7 characters on the Riverfront, you have, I don't know how many you'll have in Kingdom of Gracia because I haven't done all that, and then you'll have a few more in the new Bamboo Forest area when that comes along. So your options for choosing units are, pretty good, right? So focus on a unit, spread the love out. Sometimes there are double Bond XP times, like right now as of recording, there's double Bond XP, so I get 1,800 Bond XP for talking every single time, which is really, really good, because that's just less food that I have to feed them, right? And more food I can spend on somebody else. But again, it is free stats and free crystals, which is what everyone really cares about. But I think that's going to do it for this video, going over Tempest and everything that you can do inside of it. If I missed something or if you have additional questions, let me know in the comments. But that's it for me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.